Jamaica, yes, and she loved it apparently. Investigations have revealed that the sound of a high-speed industrial turbine heard across Kingston during last week's visit from Prince Charles and the Duchess of Cornwall was in fact the sound of Bob Marley spinning in his grave. The very thought of the royal couple playing his music was enough to set the corpse of the reggae superstar revolving at oil drill speed. But unfortunately the noise wasn't sufficient to drown out their version of I Shot the Sheriff. Up north a bit, and the Bush administration has been rocked by the sudden resignation of the commander of all US military operations in the Middle East, Admiral William J. Fallon. Wandaneet Babcock from our Washington bureau.
Thank you, Sean. Well, Fallon ended his 42-year military career this week with a controversial article in Esquire magazine, openly critical of the Bush administration and what he described as its bellicose attitude to Iran. Well, now there's growing speculation that with Fallon gone, this most Iranian of countries is firmly in the president's sights. But preliminary polling is mixed as to the pretext to be used for an invasion plan. While 0.1% of those polled believe that we should invade to stop the Iranians from building Islamic WMDs. Another 0.1% note the convenience of having U.S. troops next door. 0.2% say that Iran's President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad is a crazy man, and all out war is the best way out of economic recession at home, say 0.3%. And 99.3% said other. So some fairly divided opinions there, Sean.
And when you say other, do you mean oil?
Yes.
Thank you, Wanda. To our own capital now, an 18-year-old Jim Maloney got to go to Canberra today for showing conspicuous valour in abseiling down a perilous ravine from a helicopter to the aid of an injured yachtsman. The young police rescue officer attended a ceremony at Government House to receive a bravery award, but left empty-handed, having been told that he really couldn't expect a bravery award for simply fulfilling the terms of his employment.
Don't look at me, excuse me.
And before we go to the break, a question. Is it just me, or does Fidel Castro look a bit like Kramer from Seinfeld? Have a look at this. There's the real Kramer there, and there's his virtual doppelganger, in my view, Fidel Castro on the right. Send your entries to Is It Just Sean, or does Fidel Castro look like Kramer competition, the General Manager, SBS, locked bag and matching shoes, etc., etc. See you in a sec. In news just to hand, the UN Environment Programme has warned that glaciers around the world are suffering quite a bit of shrinkage. It's odd actually, because that usually happens when the weather's quite cold. Well, after nearly a century and a half, the Catholic Church has decided to update the 7 deadly sins. And there are quite a few surprises. Jersey Carmel chews it over.
The German-engineered Benedict XV1 says we've lost touch with what constitutes a sin. So now he's added 7 more sins for us to avoid if we want to hang out with this guy in heaven. Most of us know the original deadly sins from that film with Gwyneth Paltrow's severed head in a box. Pride, gluttony, flatulence, sneezy, doc, and the others. But now there are more deadly sins for the 21st century. Genetic modification, experiments on humans, obscene wealth, and polluting the environment. But many people are asking, isn't the Pope himself guilty of these same modern sins? His obscene wealth, for example, might well qualify as obscene wealth. And what about that chimney smoke when they elected him? Isn't that polluting the environment? For genetic modification, look no further than the 1.5 centimetre tall advisor to the pontiff, Cardinal Infantissimo. And surely the Pope's Dr. Moreau-like man-to-beast surgery on his secret island add up to human experiments. This bishop disagrees, but then he would. That collar means that he's going to heaven. For the rest of us, with so many deadly sins to contend with, we'll soon be seeing each other in hell. Jersey Carmel, Vatican City.
And one more story before we go. Puzzlement in Berlin today during the International Junior Gymnastic Trials when 2 British POWs, unaware the war was over, were found inside the vaulting horse attempting to escape. The veterans said they were surprised to hear that hostilities between the 2 countries had ceased in 1945, but admitted things had seemed a bit quiet lately. The 2 men, now in their 80s, were taken away by German police and later shot. Let's have a quick look at the newspaper headlines for tomorrow. New York Times are leading with this. Port Phillip Bay leader taking the long view there. And Pravda hoping to sell a lot of itself tomorrow by pandering to the masses. Well, until next week, something to consider. Excuse me. Have a look at this. Why was it thought a good design idea to have something made from a bean dispensed through the nose of a fish? News on that, Australia. Yahasra and good night. And when we cut to the crane shot, you'll notice all this has disappeared. It's amazing. You watch. Ready? 1, 2, 3. See? See how it's gone? You can hear me now, but my lips aren't moving, are they? Oh well, we're cutting to Vox Pop.
Well, I think a lump sum benefit to pensioners just encourages them to be old. Maybe the government should provide some sort of incentive to get them off their asses and get them back into a younger age bracket.
Well, I cannot believe the National de l'Origine de l'Equality is redrawing the borders of the Champagne district. So now, if me and the missus want to buy a prestige cuvee, like Lewis Roderer's Crystal, I'm not going to know what I'm getting, am I?
I believe that if the political will is there and if the current government have the wherewithal to truly lead the country, then the minimum wage could be even more minimal.
Hi, Sean McCarleffe here. Did you enjoy tonight's episode of Newstopia? Really? Well, thank you very much. What bits? Yeah? Mm-hmm. See, I like that bit too. Look, we could stand here doing this all night, but that would create problems in terms of the other programming. So why not visit our website and log your praise? Do it now, and you can watch the show again. You may as well. I've seen the movie on next, and you won't be missing anything. That's filthy.